Hey everybody, my name is Orsi, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of
How'd you play that thing?
Today we're going to be looking at my latest single, Faire La Fenêtre. I'm going to break down the main guitar part and teach you how to play it. So, let's begin. Faire La Fenêtre is written in the key of E major, and the first verse starts with an E major chord. It then moves to an A minor chord, and back to an E major chord. And then we get to this chord. It's a very mysterious sounding, dreamy kind of chord, and that's a D sharp augmented triad. I love augmented chords for the reasons that I just explained. They're very dreamy, and they fit really nicely to create that kind of a vibe in a song. Perhaps for your ears, you may remember those old-time movies that have dream sequences where you'll usually hear a piano play a whole tone scale up and down, which essentially is just a series of augmented triads. And that'll sound something like this. Familiar, I bet. So that's that chord. And then we move on to the C sharp minor chord, an F sharp minor chord, a G sharp 7 chord, an A major chord, and an A minor chord. And that sequence is the first verse of this song. So played in time, it would sound like this. And that leads into the pre-chorus of the song, which also starts on an E major chord. And then we get this little variation on the augmented chord I showed you earlier. So this is actually an augmented 7 chord. Same chord, D sharp augmented, but with the 7 now, and it has the 3rd in the bass. So we have this note in the bass here, which is G. But theoretically to the chord, because it's a D sharp chord, it's actually an F double sharp. So we have an F double sharp or G. It's octave on the 4th string. Then we get the 7th degree here, a C sharp on the 3rd string. And we get the tonic or the 1st degree, the D sharp on the 1st string. So the 5th is actually excluded from this voicing, but it's implied. So it's a D sharp augmented 7 chord. And now we move to an A sus2, an A major chord with an open B string. The 2nd string is open. And then we move to an F sharp minor. Back to the E major. Again to the augmented chord. To the A sus2 chord, and then finally a C major 7 chord. I really love the sound of this voicing in particular. I mean, if you take a regular C major chord and you remove your first finger, you essentially make the voicing go from a C to a B, and that gives you the major 7 sound, and it just sounds really nice and open, especially with the open strings. It's really fantastic. So that's the pre-chorus. And then moving on to the chorus, again back to the E major chord. And then this is Pop 101. I'm using a very traditional pop chord progression where I use the 1st degree of the scale, the E, to the 6th degree of the scale, a C sharp minor, to the 4th degree of the scale. In this case, it's an A major 7, so that's played with an A on the 5th fret 6th string. Then we get the 7th degree, the G sharp on the 4th string on the 6th fret, 3rd string 6th fret as well, gives us our 3rd or C sharp. And then we get the 5th degree, which is an E on the 2nd string 5th fret. And typically in this chord progression, you're gonna transition to the B to end the sequence, but I chose to substitute that with a augmented chord again. So it substitutes for the 5 chord, but it actually adds like a nicer color. Again, as you noticed, I'm adding this augmented chord in each one of these chord progressions, and it just ties everything in together, and it gives a certain, like, dreamy character to the song. So in time, the chorus is. Into the bridge. So the bridge starts with an A, goes down to a G sharp minor. And then there's this nice chord sequence here with passing tones, a moving bass line. A C sharp minor, play that same C sharp minor with a B in the bass. And then that B goes down to a B flat or A sharp. And that's a diminished chord. So diminished chords, again, I love those. Much like the augmented chord, they're very colorful. You don't hear them very often in popular music. You'll most likely hear major chords and minor chords, but the diminished chord really adds a nice harmonic character and flavor to a chord progression. And I just think it sounds great. So I'm using it here. Back to an A. Resolves very nicely to a G sharp minor. And again, the C sharp minor with the B in the bass, and an A sharp diminished chord. And that leads into the chorus. So I'll just play the bridge into the chorus, and the chorus essentially is the same as before, but this time we exit the chorus with the same diminished chord, as you'll see here. And then I end up that E major chord to an A minor in the outro, back to the E major, and then I finally end the song on a C major 7 chord, which I showed you earlier. So there you have it. That's the chord progression and harmony for my single Faire La Fenêtre. And if you guys have any questions, or if certain things weren't clear, if you'd like me to articulate any of the voicings or the chords, feel free to write a comment below, and I'll answer and try and sort that out for you. At the same time, I just want to thank you again for tuning in, for watching, and supporting me with my music and these videos. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.